Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Medical Learning with Amita Khawat. Today we are going to discuss about cerebrospinal fluid and the ventricular system, part 2. So let's start. In the last lecture, we discussed about the ventricular system and how cerebrospinal fluid protects our central nervous system. And in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the functions of CSF. So the first function of CSF is to protect our central nervous system or act like a protective fluid. For example, if I draw a lateral view of our face, so here is the cerebrum, the midbrain, pons, medulla and the spinal cord. And here is the cerebellum present behind our brainstem. And here is the human face. Now, the second meningeal layer or the arachnoid matter is present over here. And here is the subarachnoid space present under the arachnoid matter. And the pia mater or the first meningeal layer is present over here. The ventricular system here is the third ventricle present in the diencephalon and foramen of Monro connecting to our lateral ventricles, which allow the CSF to move from the lateral ventricles in the third ventricle. And from the third ventricle, cerebral aqueduct extending downwards forms the fourth ventricle with the central canal, and here is the terminal ventricle at the end of the spinal cord. So here is the lateral ventricle, foramen of Monro, third ventricle, the cerebral aqueduct, fourth ventricle, and here is the foramen of Lashika, which allows the CSF to move from the fourth ventricle to the subarachnoid area. And from the foramen of Lashika, the central canal extends downwards at the end of the spinal cord, and at the end of spinal cord, the terminal ventricle is present. Now, CSF is formed by the choroid plexus. One choroid plexus in lateral ventricle and this CSF formed in the lateral ventricle goes through the foramen of Monro and collects in the third ventricle. And the choroid plexus from the third ventricle also release CSF, and this CSF together goes from the cerebral aqueduct and enters in the cavity of fourth ventricle. And here fourth ventricle is having three foramens. Two foramen of Lashika present at the lateral side of fourth ventricle, and the foramen of Magendie present at the interior side of fourth ventricle. So here is the foramen of Magendie and here are the foramen of Lashika. And CSF from the cerebral aqueduct move in the subarachnoid space from these foramens. The subarachnoid space at the anterior side of central nervous system is filled by the foramen of Magendie, which is an anterior foramen of the fourth ventricle, and at the lateral sides of subarachnoid space is filled by the CSF coming from the foramen of Lashika. And now this CSF in the subarachnoid space protects our central nervous system. At this point, where the CSF is collected from the foramen of Lashika to the subarachnoid space, this cavity is filled with CSF, and this is called the cerebellomedullary cistern. And this is at the level of pontomedullary junction. Now, if there is a violent assault on our head, area, the CSF collects in this subarachnoid occipital area to protect our occipital lobe. And when the CSF from the frontal, parietal and the temporal area is gathered in the occipital area, a negative pressure is produced in these areas. And suddenly when the CSF occupies these areas again, this negative pressure is suddenly occupied and our frontal lobe hits our frontal bone, and this causes an injury called counter coup injury, in which a part of occipital lobe and some area frontal lobe is damaged. And this type of injury is called counter coup injury. And if there is a violent assault on our head on the occipital area, but CSF is not able to protect our occipital area, then some part of frontal lobe but a major part of occipital lobe is damaged. And this type of injury is called coup injury. Counter coup injury are more common than coup injury. Now we will discuss about the second function of cerebrospinal fluid. The second function of cerebrospinal fluid is to support our central nervous system and provide buoyancy, which means floating in liquid. So our central nervous system floats in cerebrospinal fluid. Because the mass of central nervous system is approximately equal to the mass of cerebrospinal fluid, our central nervous system floats in cerebrospinal fluid. And if there is excessive leakage of CSF due to lumbar puncture from a subarachnoid area, our central nervous system can damage the nerves which are connecting from the brain to our face, and it can also rupture the arteries which are supplying blood to our central nervous system. Now we will discuss about the third function of cerebrospinal fluid. The third function of cerebrospinal fluid is that it acts like a reservoir and regulates the intracranial pressure or the pressure which is generated in the subarachnoid area due to cerebrospinal fluid. So if our central nervous system is shrunken due to age, then our cerebrospinal fluid will increase and regulate the intracranial pressure. And if there is swelling on the frontal lobe, then the quantity of cerebrospinal fluid will decrease and regulate the intracranial pressure. And this is how our cerebrospinal fluid regulates the intracranial pressure. Now we will discuss about the fourth function of cerebrospinal fluid. The fourth function of CSF is to nourish our central nervous system and act as a metabolic waste removal, which means it removes the waste produced by glial cells which forms our central nervous system. All the substances from our blood cannot move in our central nervous system due to blood-brain barrier. For example, this is one artery supplying blood to our central nervous system. There is a layer of endothelium on the surface of this artery which only allows few substances to move from our blood in central nervous system. So CSF acts as a nourishing fluid because it allows every substance in the subarachnoid area to move in central nervous system, and it acts as a metabolic waste removal because the glial cells which forms our central nervous system produce some waste, and this waste is removed by the cerebrospinal fluid and keeps floating in cerebrospinal fluid until CSF is replaced. Now we will discuss about the fifth function of CSF. The fifth function of CSF is that it helps in the movement of hormones from the glands in our central nervous system. For example, pineal gland present behind our third ventricle. Pineal gland produces some hormones and CSF helps in the movement of these hormones. Just to have a quick recap, CSF acts as a protective fluid. It protects and covers our central nervous system. It supports our central nervous system and provides buoyancy to our brain. Our central nervous system floats in CSF because the mass of central nervous system is approximately equal to CSF. It acts as a reservoir and regulates the intracranial pressure. It regulates the pressure which is in the subarachnoid space formed due to the cerebrospinal fluid. It nourishes our central nervous system and acts as a metabolic waste removal. It removes the waste produced by the glial cells which forms our central nervous system. It helps in the movement of hormones from the glands to our brain. So, for example, any hormone is released by pineal gland. So, cerebrospinal fluid helps this hormone to move from our pineal gland to different parts of central nervous system. So this was all about today's lecture. In the next lecture, we will discuss about the important features of cerebrospinal fluid. For example, what is the volume of cerebrospinal fluid, what is daily production of cerebrospinal fluid, and etc. Thank you.